Forward TV. The world is thinking.
Lebanon is a totally false and artificial country. It was created by the French as a sectarian state, where the president has to be a Christian Maronite, the prime minister has to be a Sunni Muslim, the speaker of parliament has to be a Shiite Muslim, and so on. To be a modern state, it has to deconfessionalize. But if it deconfessionalizes, it will no longer be Lebanon, because the identity of Lebanon is sectarianism. It is a Rolls Royce with wonderful food, immensely intelligent people, snow-covered mountains, Roman ruins. It is a Rolls Royce with square wheels. It doesn't work. On that basis, it's not surprising that every country in the region, and especially the regional superpowers, have interfered in Lebanon's history since 1958. And certainly ever more so in the Civil War, and again now. The 2006 war was basically America fighting Iran using its Israeli and Hezbollah proxies. It was also a war fought to test new weapons. The deep penetration bombs which the Israelis used on the southern suburbs of Beirut, and the ground-to-sea missiles which the Iranians used. They almost sunk an Israeli warship. It burned for 25 hours. They lost 2 members of the crew overboard, never seen again. This was a testing ground. The Iranian defense attaché in Beirut paid close attention to that, because these missiles were not available to the Iranians during the Iran-Iraq war. The current situation, even though Mr. Bush tells us that it's a thriving democracy and they had a cedar revolution, is that because the Hezbollah, under pressure from the pro-American government of democratically elected Fuad Signora, the moment the press called it pro-American, I knew it was doomed. American-supported government of, I mean, if I was Signora, I'd say, please, 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 go away, you know, like Saudi Arabia, if Ralph Peters has his way, we're going to come and protect you again. No, but what happened was that when the Hezbollah effectively took over West Beirut, I was there, I live in West Beirut, when they were outside my house, with weapons. It forced the government effectively to capitulate. Whereas they got, after former Prime Minister Saad Hariri was murdered on February 14th, 2005, they got the Syrians out, UN Security Council resolutions, they abided by it, and the idea was that there would now be a, if not anti-Syrian, at least Syrian-free government. But because of the Hezbollah investment of West Beirut, there was a new peace agreement at Doha in Qatar, the same Al Jazeera capital, country, and this agreement stipulated that the minority in the cabinet, who represented those who may not be pro-Syrian but certainly weren't anti-Syrian, including the Hezbollah, who have a minister in the government, would have a veto over majority decisions in cabinet, which means effectively the Syrians are back. But there will be another war next year, I think, and I fear, between Hezbollah and the Israelis. The Hezbollah have built deep underground bunkers with landline telephones 16 feet to 20 feet below the surface. They don't want to use mobiles because the Israelis can listen to them. And both sides are trying to find out when the war will begin. The Israelis talk constantly of the need, because they want to get their own back for 2006, to smash, pull out the roots of world terror. I mean, this stuff's been going on ever since 1948. And the Hezbollah are longing to have a go at the Israelis again and speak of the next war. They talk about it. And the intelligence of both sides is very good. I mean, I'll tell you one of the things that happened in 2006, which I discovered very shortly after the ceasefire, which Mr. Blair wanted to delay, and I hope the Israelis could manage to kill some more Hezbollah. What happened was that I discovered that the Hezbollah had managed to obtain Israel's aerial reconnaissance pictures of the Hezbollah bunkers in southern Lebanon. And the Hezbollah can read Hebrew fluently, of course, because they've been in Israeli prisons. They're planning to open a Hebrew service of Manar Hezbollah TV, by the way, in case any Israelis want to pick up some hints, I suppose, I don't know. But they watch Israeli TV, of course, and fully understand it. And, of course, they could read the Hebrew on the pictures and identify which of the bunkers on the photographs the Israelis had spotted and which they hadn't spotted. So that when the Israelis started the bombing, they bombed empty bunkers. The Hezbollah were all in the underground shelters, which weren't marked on the pictures. I assume they got the pictures. We think they got them from Israeli border guards, perhaps Druze, and there's a thriving drugs trade that goes across the Lebanese-Israeli border. The Hezbollah do not take drugs, but they certainly trade in them. That's just a little bit of the broken glass on the floor to show you what is going to happen again and what was happening then.